Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're watching Amtv, Alternative Media Television. It is approximately 5:41 p.m. Arizona time, and please take note, I do not normally broadcast at this hour. In fact, we were just about to head out of studio. Alex comes up to me, he's like, "You need to say something, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And we're like, "Well, maybe we'll wait till tomorrow." I'm like, "I actually I don't think we can." I don't know if America really understands what's going on right now with Trump's trip to Asia. I don't think that they understand that the U.S. has the Korean Peninsula in Pyongyang completely surrounded. Three major warships, 80,000 plus troops, along with Japan, nuclear powered submarines, a massive reconsolidation of power and purge in Saudi Arabia, aligning itself with U.S. interests, a blame game, as I've talked about this for years, on Iran as we build up. And don't jump to conclusions. The title you see on today's video is not my title. It's a title of the mainstream media that says Kim Jong-un, well, most Americans are probably watching the World Series. I guess that's on tonight. I don't really follow that, but most people are watching the World Series and they're not paying attention. Kim Jong-un could potentially fire another missile tonight. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. What I'm saying is I'm very, very concerned, namely by the rhetoric I'm getting from the mainstream media. Not my words, but theirs. So let's deal in facts. Donald Trump was just in Japan. Now, before that, as he flew of this huge purge in Saudi Arabia, of which he knew was going to happen, he's been privy to, is happening. Now, we talked about this in studio. The reason Donald Trump is, well, he's not on a vacation, but the reason why he's making this Asian trip in this Asian roundtable is our government needs to keep him secure. Do you understand that? They are keeping the president secure during and at a time of war. How many Saudi princes are dead via helicopter crash in a firefight in just the last 48 hours? How many Saudi royals have been rounded up at the Ritz-Carlton and imprisoned? Dozens. Here we have the king reconsolidating power for his son in this push to westernization. Now, of course, I'll be breaking all this down in excruciating detail tomorrow during our live show. So please support us. We go for an hour, 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So click that link and subscribe. But do you get it? Does the average American truly understand? So I'm reading Donald Trump's Twitter feed right now. He is leaving Japan and is on his way to South Korea as we speak. He might already be there. He tweets again, "I have great confidence in King Salman and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. They know exactly what they are doing." That only affirms that this is in alignment with U.S. interests. Donald Trump approved. Okay, that's what I spoke about this weekend in several viral videos that we put out. So what are the facts? What's breaking? According to Reuters, and this is new news, U.S. to soon stage a massive drill with 3 carriers as Trump arrives in the Korean Peninsula. This is from Reuters. We'll go to these articles in a minute. 3 U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups will exercise together in the Western Pacific in the coming days in a rare show of force as President Donald Trump visits Asia with warnings about the nuclear threat from North Korea. Now, this is new. Okay, they had not confirmed that they would actually be doing this. Now we have confirmation upon Trump's arrival, although they haven't stated the exact time, this is going down. Now, let's just step back for a minute. Again, folks, I'm not making this stuff up. I did not send personally here at AMTV 3 major nuclear-powered warships, U.S. warships, to the Korean Peninsula. I did not do that. Donald Trump did. I did not send a nuclear-powered submarine to the Korean Peninsula. I did not do that. It's not fear-mongering. I didn't do it. Trump did it. U.S. interests did it. I did not station 80,000 troops ready for war in this part of the world. Okay? I'm not Donald Trump, and I'm not Kim Jong-un. Now, keep in mind, Kim Jong-un is a man of action. He has fired multiple missile after missile. He has threatened a nuclear warhead to be launched over the Pacific Ocean. He has fired 2 missiles over Japan just in recent months. Look at it from his perspective for a minute. You think Kim Jong-un is just going to take this lying down? His entire government is under attack. U.S. interests are preparing to strike. Now, most Americans would agree with that action. A lot, at least, would. That this is a problem that Donald Trump had been warning about decades ago, before he even ran for president of the United States, that if you let this guy continue to build nuclear weapons, you're going to have a major problem. You're either going to get a worst case scenario in nuclear war, the reason I'm doing this broadcast tonight is because I want to stick with the facts, but something is off. Big time. Something is majorly off. And so the mainstream media is now reporting and confirming all this information that we've known ahead of time. And again, let's go to this right now. Let me turn this around. I think you can keep it on the tripod there. Show you some of these images as we bring into focus. I mean, take a look at this. Donald Trump is set to begin a 12-day tour through Asia as the threat of North Korea's nuclear program continues. This is the article that I was just reading to you guys from Reuters. U.S. to soon stage drill with 3 carriers as Trump visits Asia. And I think these images are pretty powerful. I mean, if you just run through these and see the sheer force. A B-52 Spirit bomber right there, flying overhead. Another AB-1B Lancer bomber. F-35 strike fighter. And it just goes on and on. It's one of our submarines there. I mean, we are talking about total and epic force. North Korea's biggest ever missile launch tonight. This is not me. I didn't say this. This is the mainstream media. They want you to know this for some reason. North Korea's biggest ever missile launch could be tonight. Kim ready to send message to Trump. North Korea is feared to be ready for missile test tonight, and a final warning as Donald Trump arrives on Kim's doorstep. Now again, guys, this is the biggest geopolitical shift I've ever seen. Saudi elite being rounded up, locked up in a 5-star hotel, the Ritz-Carlton. Many others have been killed. This is a reconsolidation of power so that no one will challenge the king and his son, the new leader. That's what it's about. Saudi Arabia blames Iran. I told you that they would do that. Here they are doing that right now. And people will say, they'll say things like, Christopher, now Saudi Arabia is going to start World War III. Have you been listening to anything we've been talking about for 10 years? North Korea is a proxy for America's enemies, Russia, China, and Iran. That's the global war. That's the world war. Again, we were talking about this years in advance before we had the war in Syria, 500,000 innocent civilians murdered, and before the creation of ISIS. I was hearing the same thing. Christopher, this is just fear-mongering. This won't happen. This is what's happening. The Lebanese prime minister just fled to Saudi Arabia. And keep in mind, that's just on the doorstep of Israel and Syria. Now that entire country has been destabilized, and they're blaming it on Iranian-backed Hezbollah, which the U.S. and her allies deem a terrorist organization. This is exactly what we've been talking about for years. Trump voices great confidence in Saudi Arabia. So again, that's just giving the seal of approval that this has the Western approval, everything that's going on with this purge. This is what they were talking about months ago when the New World Order elite had all their hands on this orb, this New World Order orb, that iconic image. Saudi Arabia says Lebanon declares war, deepening crisis. Now, this country is totally destabilized. And notice how ISIS had recently been wiped out all of a sudden. Did you notice that? ISIS had been completely wiped out? Yeah, you know who wiped them out? Russia and Iran. Now the U.S. and her allies don't have that as an excuse and a destabilizing factor in this part of the world. As Trump literally has North Korea completely surrounded. And then there's this from USA Today. Remember I refused an interview from USA Today because I called them fake news? This was about a month or so ago. The Pentagon wants you to know that a ground invasion is the only option U.S. interests have in order, because it would be required to destroy North Korea's nuclear weapons. Not me saying that. They're saying that. This is what Mr. Bolton, John Bolton, has been speaking to in recent days as well, who I've interviewed personally and had several conversations with. Ground invasion. NBC News confirms only way to destroy North Korea's nuclear arsenal. NBC. Pentagon. Only ground invasion can destroy North Korean nuclear program. Those are three corroborating sources, all indicating that a ground invasion is on the table, not according to me, according to the Pentagon. Securing North Korean nuclear sites would require a ground invasion. That's source number 4, the Pentagon says. The Washington Post. So I wanted to put this out here tonight because, as I said in the video, the series of videos we put out over the weekend, and I said specifically in the video this morning, I would be very surprised if there wasn't a major event before the week is out. Trump's not hanging out in the Korean Peninsula for fun. Okay, it's not a coincidence that there's been a reconsolidation of power in Saudi Arabia while Donald Trump is very, very secure and protected traveling abroad on his way, not just to Japan, but the Korean Peninsula and to China. Okay, this actually gives Trump the upper hand as he's attempting to negotiate with China, for example, because this shift in Saudi Arabia hurts their interests. It hurts Russian, Iranian, Chinese interests. This is the power shift. I've just never seen anything like it. Ever. Do I know exactly how this plays out? No, nobody does. Not even Donald Trump. This is a big, big move. Imagine for a minute, again, you're Kim Jong-un. You're completely surrounded. What do you do? What do you do at this point? Honestly, I'm asking you. I don't know the answer. What do you do? Kim Jong-un, if he's lying in bed at night, and I'm sure he can't sleep, what are you going to do? Are you going to fire a missile? Like the mainstream media is warning us about that could happen tonight? Do you do something else? Now, what we saw over the weekend with the alleged missile that came in from Lebanon, and they blamed conveniently on Iran, in my opinion, and I called it when we talked about it, was just an excuse for Saudi Arabia to blame it on Iran and pin it on Hezbollah. They needed that as cover and a guise so that they could make all these alleged corruption arrests. As if, bin Talal, for example, the second largest Twitter shareholder and a major shareholder in, I believe, Fox News and all these other Fortune 500 companies, as if this wasn't occurring before. Why all of a sudden this push for westernization? Why all of a sudden can women drive now when they couldn't before? This was the art of a deal. Read Donald Trump's books. I have. Okay, he reveals a lot. in those. This is the art of a deal. It is a buildup to war. And there will be an event. That's all I have for tonight. Click the link below. I'll be studying this probably all night tonight. And I'll be talking about all of this in a lot more detail than we just have during our live broadcast. I don't know what else to tell you guys, but honestly, those are the facts. And I also know on another level, just instinctually, something big's about to happen. I'd like to hear what you think. Put your comment, question in the box below, and please get this out so people are aware of it and they're not blinded by just watching the World Series when we could potentially wake up tomorrow and all of our lives have changed. Get it out, and God bless you.